The Rams make a big special teams shakeup. We've got all the details. Also, some more keys to a Rams victory over the San Francisco 49ers. Key matchups, things you need to know heading into one of the biggest games of the season. All that more coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor. We just got past 20,000 subscribers, big milestone, but we're trying to get to 30,000. So join the party. Hit the subscribe button. And if you want to support every episode, the best way to do that, hit the like button, drop a comment down below. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me D-Mac. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. I've covered LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation, the LA Sports Report. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. I'm flying solo today. The People Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers, is out. Be back on Monday, but we got a jam-packed show because we learned just moments ago that the Rams have made a shakeup that we have been pushing for. We got all the details and why it's a very big decision. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. All right, so the big news is that the Rams have made a switch at the kicker position, and it is the thicker kicker that is going to be getting the go against the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams are going to start Harrison Mevis at the kicker spot for Week 10. The Rams made a big roster move. Sean McVay, he announced that Mevis would be the starting kicker this week, and he was signed just this week to the practice squad. He did play a lot of college kicker role at Missouri, where he set the SEC record for longest field goal in conference history at a 61-yard game winner. Also playing the UFL for the Stallions, the Birmingham Stallions. Also was in the Panthers organization, and that was where we last saw him. And he takes over for Joshua Karty. And Joshua Karty has been the Rams kicker now for the last 25 games, and he's just not seeing the results this year. 66.7%, that is his field goal percentage in 8 games. And the Rams have missed a league-high 8 field goals through 8 games. And McVay did say, quote, that Joshua Karty is not going anywhere. So this could be an opportunity for Mevis to win the job in 1 week. I mean, it's essentially an audition because this is not a permanent decision. So really interesting decision, a very bold move by Sean McVay and the Rams for the shakeup before one of the most important games of the season for them. It's a divisional game against the San Francisco 49ers on the road. And look, the truth is, Joshua Karty, is it his fault? All of it? No, it isn't. The long snapper, the protection. I mean, just go back and look at some of these misses on the blocks. He's looking at the protection, and he's rushing kicks. Is that all of his fault? Not really, but the results are the results. And even the open kicks, even the ones that he's had, well, I mean, he just has not executed, and he just has not been a great kicker. And he missed 3 kicks in Week 9, 2 field goals, an extra point attempt, and now we have to see if this move ultimately is going to pay dividends for this Rams team, because Karty was 10 for 15. He was 23 of 26 in extra points. In 2024, he was 29 of 34 on field goals and 32 of 36 on extra points. And if Karty was converting more, of course, this wouldn't be an issue. And I think this is, hey, bye-bye Karty party, hello to the thicker kicker, because that is the nickname of Harrison Mevis, 5'11", 245 pounds. And look, right now, I do think it is change for the sake of change. That was the move that we've been pushing for all week. And I think when you look at this move, it's a move that the Rams absolutely had to make, and I fully support it. I fully agree with it. And look, the truth is when you're slow to kick the ball, especially compared to last year, well, your timing is off. And it's weird because this is something that he's done well in the past, but I think for this team right now, I mean, you need to improve on your blocking for field goals. The protection for that operation has not been good, and for PATs, maybe you need different guys on the line. And like I've said, maybe throwing our Curry in there could change things up a bit. But I think at the end of the day, at the end of the season, you're going to see a replacement of Chase Blackburn because he's had 4 different kickers now, hasn't been able to get one to stick. And I think Mevis is, hey, one of my favorite shows, 90s. Watch him back in the day, Beavis and Butthead. I mean, imagine having that laugh piped into the SoFi Stadium speakers after he makes a kick. I'm just saying. I'm throwing out ideas. I think there's a lovability. There's a lovability to this. And look, the brass tacks, the truth of the matter is that Joshua Karty's in a funk. And he had some problems as a rookie. It looked like he had figured things out. But there's more than just him that's getting the blame. These are kickers, man. I'm rooting for Mevis. I feel bad for Karty. I also thought that he looked like he was going to be the long-term solution for the Rams at the kicker spot. But the NFL is a crazy, wild world for kickers. This is the position where teams are willing to move on from guys. It's a position where you can lose your job with one bad day or 2 bad days, and that is the position that they're in. I mean, look, think about this. What if Harrison Mevis has a big day and goes 3 for 3, hits a couple 50-yarders, and everyone falls in love with the thicker kicker thing? It's definitely going to energize the fan base from the special teams because the entire situation, the entire operation has been mind-bogglingly bad this year. And if Sean McVay is making this decision, you have to assume that it is very calculated and that there are a lot of good reasons behind it that go beyond just like bad protection and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, this is the move we were hitting. I mean, look, when he was with the Birmingham Stallions of the UFL, he won Special Teams Player of the Week. He converted 20 of 21 field goals. This is a big move. This is a big swing for the Rams. I said it before. Tom Brady's first 4 Super Bowls decided by the 3 points, right? I mean, in close games in the playoffs, you're going to have a kicker that you can rely on because you need a guy that is not going to tip your cap and tip your hand as far as what kind of offense you can be running on a 3rd down or a 4th down. You need a guy you can trust in these situations. And look, I think that the fans have been kind of pushing for this. The organization knows that, hey, this is probably the right move, and we'll see. And I like the fact that you're still keeping Karty in the mix because you never know. I mean, you just never know with these guys. And I think big picture, it is kind of it is Chase Blackburn kind of saving face saying, oh, it wasn't me, it was the kicker. And now we're going to find out because if the special teams unit is still bad and it's his 5th kicker that he can't have success with, I think you have to have some real long, hard conversations about replacing Chase Blackburn. And, yeah, the thicker kicker era is here, and I can't wait to see it. All right, but coming up next, we got the injury report for Sunday and more keys to a Rams win. Something that is so important that not a lot of people are talking about. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no coverages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it easy. It makes it simple. All plans with Mint come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text. Delivered on the nation's largest 5G network, you can even bring your own phone and keep your same number and contacts. And what I like about Mint Mobile, what makes it very different is I love that you're getting the same quality service you had before, but for a fraction of the price. The setup is super easy. You kept your number, and then you're running in minutes. So, hey, it's awesome. It's great stuff. And if you're ready to say yes and say no, make the switch at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for just 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle. Between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout, it's frustrating. That's why I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I pulled up Gametime in just a couple taps. I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite NFL games for as low as $100. And I just think it's a great app. I just bought World Series tickets for my mom and my wife for Game 3, 4, and 5, and it was awesome. And I used the Gametime app. The app is made super simple. I could even see the exact view for my seat before buying, and I also love the zone deals. I love zone deals because you can pick the section, Gametime picks the seats, and you save big. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I bought tickets. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download Gametime today. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to give a big shout out to those everyday listeners out there. Anytime we drop any new pod, audio, video, you guys watch, and you guys are the engine of this channel, the lifeblood of this pod, and we cannot thank you enough. And we picked up a lot of new viewers, a lot of new listeners. Now's the time, though, to join that everyday listeners club. That's why you're the most informed Rams fan, right? Because you lock in every single day. So now's the time to join if you're not already, and then you won't miss a thing about your Los Angeles Rams. Okay, here in our second segment, we got the final injury report for Sunday, and it's definitely good news. We'll start with the San Francisco side, though. The 49ers, they're in better shape than they were in Week 5 when Juwan Jennings and George Kittle, they were out of that game. And we'll talk more about the Niners. But from the Rams standpoint, you got key guys that maybe we're still concerned about, you're feeling good about. And that's Puka Nacua, Darius Williams. They are going to be good to go. They're full participants. And Puka Nacua and Williams, they were on the field Friday. They are going to be on the field for Sunday. And then some other additional ones, Jordan Whittington, he was limited after he missed practice Wednesday and Thursday. So he's questionable. So you tap into your depth there. I mean, Tutu Atwell, he's been limited with the hamstring lately. And then Jordan Whittington, it kind of makes you wonder, do we see more of that 13 personnel? Do we see more Terrence Ferguson? I think the answer to that is going to be yes. And then back to the 49ers side, really interesting is that you've got 9 players on their injury report. 2 have been ruled out. Ricky Pearsall and Mykel Williams, they're going to miss Sunday's game. But Brock Purdy, D. Winters, and Ben Barch, they are questionable. So there's 7. Those are 3 of the 7 questionable players. Mac Jones is off the injury report, and he's going to start on Sunday in place of Purdy. Kyle Shanahan made that announcement today. So the Rams, they're the healthier team heading into this one. The 49ers still have been dealing with injuries. And we know it's kind of one of those games where it's such a rivalry game at this point that you almost have to kind of throw the records out just a little bit just because of what's at stake, what this could mean for the division. But Mac Jones is going to start. And that kind of tells you that Brock Purdy, maybe he did make his toe worse when he played against the Jags. I think that if you're following anything about the 49ers, he played against the Jags, and that toe could be worse. Foot injuries, lower leg injuries, they're not fun. The foot can feel okay, but when you put all the weight on it, you can feel a setback, and maybe he re-aggravated it. And it kind of makes you wonder, did they rush him back? Did he come back too soon? Does he need to just bite the bullet and get surgery? I think hindsight's always 20/20, especially when a player isn't back and healthy. But the fact that he came back and has continued to be out longer, it does make you want to question that decision if you're on the 49ers side of it all. And look, surgery is always the last option. Doctors always want you to rehab instead of doing that. But hey, we'll see what happens with Mac Jones. I think if you're the Rams, you don't want to take your foot off the gas or change anything. I mean, Mac Jones has been very effective in that offense for San Francisco. You're seeing more play action. With Brock Purdy, it was more shotgun. It was more just kind of getting the ball out. And you're going to see that too. I mean, the same thing with Mac Jones. We're going to intermediate routes, going underneath. But it's precision. It's finding a way for Christian McCaffrey to continue to be set up in open spaces. But let's look at some of these expert picks. Let's do these key matchups first, actually, because that's what you love about this game, this rivalry, is the key matchups. And in this one, look, one thing you'll say is the Rams still have not given up a touchdown to a running back on a running play. Tyler Warren had one, and McCaffrey had one that was a reception, but really they've been great against the run all season long. They've shut down Saquon. They shut down Jonathan Taylor for the most part. There was a bad play, a holding penalty that was negating a big run, and you've seen them have success against some of the better running backs this season, and they had success against Christian McCaffrey. But I think first big matchup I'm looking at is outside linebacker Jared Verse against left tackle Trent Williams. And anytime these two go at it, it's a very competitive matchup. It's one that screams elite. And Jared Verse, I really think he's going to be one of the face of this franchise for a long, long time, because not only is he a great player, not only does he have a great personality, he gets the 49ers-Rams rivalry. And one of the many things I loved about Aaron Donald, the reason why he's my favorite football player of all time, is he said, I hate the 49ers. Like, he did not sugarcoat it. He did not treat it like another game. He embraced the rivalry. And Jared Verse said about the 49ers matchup, yeah, whenever you lose a game and you're lucky enough to get them again, especially when they are in our division, it means a little bit more. Obviously, every game is the same, but it's just not even like, oh, division rivals or this, that, and the third. The 49ers just mean more. Like, I love that. That gives me goosebumps. That makes the hair on my neck stand up. That makes me want to run through a brick wall. And he said that when it comes to the rivalry between the 49ers and the Rams, that he talked about kind of having that college style mentality, right? And he talked about having some college teammates from Florida State that are on the 49ers. And he said that Fisk and I both have teammates from Florida State with Renardo Green and Tatum Bethune that went to Florida State with us. They're my brothers and everything like that, but they play for the 49ers. They texted me Monday or Tuesday, hey, happy birthday. I said, hey, thank you. Get off my phone. You're my opponent. I'm not messing with you this week. You're my opponent. Like, simple as that. Even your best friends, even your brothers, it's just different this week. So I just love this mentality. I love me some Jared Verse. This is a massive Jared Verse household right here. And you got to avoid going 0-2 against these guys. You don't want to go back to what we saw in that long stretch where Shanahan was dominating McVay in the regular season. It felt like you kind of got that monkey off your back in the last couple of years, and hopefully the Rams use that first matchup as major fuel. So as far as the matchup goes, Jared versus Williams, I mean, it is an unstoppable force versus an unstoppable force. It is power versus power. Williams, he definitely is going to be a tall task. The Rams have been elite as a pass rush unit, but Verse, if he can beat Williams and get a sack, if he can get consistent pressure and disrupt what they're trying to do, that's going to do wonders for this Rams team trying to slow down a 49ers offense that is not at 100%, that is just making the best of what they have. And you're going to see a quick passing game with Mac Jones and the 49ers. So Verse needs to get pressure and do it in a hurry because of that. So that's where Verse's speed and power and the bull rush, they're even more valuable this week, because not only can Verse create pressure and wreak havoc and be a disruptor, he's so athletic that he can do it fast. So that's going to be very important in this one. Now, next one, Nate Landman, our favorite, the Peanut Punch Landman. Give me one peanut punch in this one. And hopefully you're punching it out of Christian McCaffrey's arms. Because McCaffrey, he was very productive. He filled up the box score in the first matchup between these two teams on week 5. He had 139 yards from scrimmage. He had 1 touchdown. He was really good as a receiver. He had 8 catches for 82 yards. But the Rams did do a nice job in neutralizing him on the ground. They held him to 57 yards on 22 carries. And one of the big reasons why was the play of the linebackers. Nate Landman, Omar Speights. You want another good game in that department, because what McVay is trying to do is get McCaffrey in open space. And when you're in open space, tackling is at a premium. And I trust this linebacker group. I trust Chris Shula to understand these concepts as best as possible. And you're just trying to limit the damage. I mean, you're just trying to not let him beat you. And if he's going to get those yards, make him pay and make it work for it. So that's going to be big. Can this Rams defense hold Christian McCaffrey to under 100 yards rushing, keep him out of the end zone as a running back? That is going to be massive in determining who wins this game. Now, another one, Puka Nacua going up against cornerback Upton Stout. So Stout, he's a 49ers corner that plays in the slot. That's going to have him matched up with Nacua for a long stretch of this game. And clearly that benefits the Rams, because Puka Nacua, he caught all 3 of his targets when he was matched up against Stout in week 5. He ended up with 10 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. And he just was dominant. It didn't matter who you threw at him. He was beating his man, and Stout should be a victim for him. And Nacua, we know what Puka can do. I mean, he's one of those guys where at this point he gets his numbers no matter who you throw at him. But I think it's going to be a big Puka afternoon. Get those Puka shells ready, because Stout hasn't been stout at all in defense of coverage. His defense has not been stout. A 37.6 PFF grade as his coverage grade. So I want to see Puka make him into a barbecue brisket, and hopefully that is the case. But coming up next, we've got more matchups and expert predictions, scores predictions, all that more coming up next on Locked On Rams. This episode of Locked On Rams is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement of this sports season. Whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both, there's no better time to jump in on the action. If you haven't tried it yet, PrizePicks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere PrizePicks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. And I've been using PrizePicks during both football Sundays and NBA tip-offs, and it keeps every game exciting. My favorite players, Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves. I like picking my favorite players. Mahomes and Curry are fun to play with too, to see my predictions play out. The new Stacks feature is a game changer too. You can now pick more on Steph's points, threes, and assists in the same lineup. Plus, if one of your players leaves early with an injury, the injury reboot saves my lineup from a loss. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. So next matchup, Sam Okuanu against Rob Havenstein. One thing about this version of the 49ers, their pass rush is not good. You don't have Nick Bosa in the mix. You lost Fred Warner as a guy who can do some things. And obviously, you lost a core member of that group. And Matthew Stafford has been at his best this season when you've been able to keep him vertical, when you've given him a clean pocket. So if Rob Havenstein can win that matchup, I trust Matthew Stafford to carve up this 49ers secondary. And Okinawa, he's third as far as pressures with 18. 11 of those came in the last 3 weeks. So he's high right now. Bryce Huff's going to be back most likely. That's going to improve their pass rush. But look for that to be one of the X factors. Watch the line for the first couple of series. If Stafford gets time to throw, it could be a big day for the Rams passing game. They've scored 35 and 34 points. They're only the second team to do that in the NFL. Only the Bengals have scored more than 34 points in consecutive games this season. So that definitely goes the Rams' way as far as their offense being in a really good place. Now, next one, Cameron Crowe versus George Kittle. So Quinn Lake going to be in that mix. You're going to see Nate Landman, Omar Spade, Jalen McCullough, Cameron Kitchens. All of those guys are going to be tasked with matchup with George Kittle. But Curl, what he brings is he's a physical player. He's got the physicality. He's got the tools. He's got the speed to cover Kittle when he's the inline tight end, right? He should be able to get some help from the other guys around him, and you can kind of neutralize him as a group. But Kittle's still one of the best tight ends in the sport. You have to give him all the focus, just like you do when you're playing any elite tight end. Whether it be a Laporte, a McBride, whoever it may be, an Andrews, a Brock Bowers. Like, he's one of those guys that when you're game planning, you have to circle him because he's a guy that can gas you. He can give you those big chunk plays, give you that yak yards. He's good in the red zone. And the 49ers, as they get healthier, the more weapons they have, the more difficult it is to zero in on Kittle. So that's going to be really important as well, is stopping George Kittle, the guy who created the National Tight Ends Day. Okay, let's get to those expert picks. It's always fun, right? Expert picks. Who picked who? All right, we've got, let's see here. The Rams, they are going up to San Francisco, Levi Stadium, Mac Jones, Matthew Stafford, McVay, Shanahan. We've got the Rams Royal and Soul, the gold and red of the Niners. Well, the experts, they like the Rams in this one. 41 of the experts that made picks, 29 of them picked the Rams. 29 of the 41 experts picked the Rams. USA Today, Jared Bell, 49ers. Nick Brinterkoff, 49ers. ESPN, Jeremy Fowler, Rams. Dan Graziano, 49ers. You've got some other names that you'll know. Lindsey Thury. How about Lindsey? Rams. Seth Wickersham, 49ers. Matt Bowen, Rams. Sports Illustrated, Albert Breer, Rams. Connor Orr, Rams. NFL.com, Dan Parr, Rams. So I got the Rams 26-20 in this one. I could see a bigger win. I could see something like 26-17. But this is a must-win for the Rams as far as, like I said, I'm not a must-win guy, but this is, hey, you should win. You probably should win. And that's going to help you a lot because you got tough games coming up. You got Seattle. You got the Bucs. We're going to find out if this Rams can really finish with one of the top teams in the NFC in the next couple of weeks, and it starts with avenging that bad loss in Week 5 to this 49ers team, and I think the Rams have it in them. There's a focus group. They'll be inspired by the Dodgers a little bit. Matthew Stafford will be wearing his Dodgers hat, and, hey, he wants some of that championship life again. He wants to experience that again. Remember, Dodgers won in 2020. Rams won in 2021. Dodgers win in 2025. Rams could win a Super Bowl in the year 2026. So there are some good omens there, and I got the Rams winning. But drop your final score predictions down below. Give me your biggest key, and what do you think about the kicking change? But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.